Hi, I'm Jenna. I'm an alcoholic. I'm also a yoga instructor, a mom, a wife, and I'm 37 weeks pregnant, so I'm about to be a mom again. I'm going to share a bit about my journey into recovery and what yoga is and what it can do for us. A little bit about myself. I grew up on the Iron Range on Embarrass Lake. I'm the youngest of three. I have two older brothers, and I have a lot of trauma in my upbringing. I grew up in a household that was a fortunate household, but it was very chaotic, and I had some trauma. A bit about my journey into recovery and sobriety. The way I dealt with the chaoticness and the trauma in my household was I put all my efforts into athletics and into academics, and I was a successful athlete. I skied Division I in college, and I ran cross country in college. And I say those things because once I put my mind to recovery, then I could finally really live a life of recovery. Because us alcoholics and addicts, we once we decide we're going to do something, we do it, and we are very talented people. And so it took me a while to get that in recovery. The moment I went off to college and found alcohol, I fell in love with it. So my drug of choice is vodka. I ended up going from not really drinking or anything in high school to being the party girl in college. And so that love of alcohol, once it set in, it set in and it took over my life. I drank straight vodka and was a closet drinker. I would hide it. I had it in water bottles. At the end of my drinking, I would hide it in water bottles, and I brought it with me. I entered treatment in 2013. I went to Hazelton down in Center City, and I didn't really want to hear anything that people had to say. I didn't want to hear what AA was, working a 12-step spiritual program, and I still wanted to run the show my own way. I stayed sober for several years after treatment, and I did that just by pure white knuckling it. I wasn't living a spiritual life. I wasn't truly committed to AA, and I just still wanted to run the show my own way, and it led me to relapsing. So I had several relapses that were short, but I would pick up exactly where I left off, where I was drinking straight vodka, and would become a blackout drinker right away. Each time I would relapse, I would say I'm not going to do it again, but I still didn't submit myself to a program of recovery. And when I finally submitted myself to the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and to working with a sponsor is when my life started to change. Yoga has kind of been in my life a lot just with athletics, but I never knew what I was doing, and I never was trained in it. So I am trained in a style of yoga that's through Yoga Fit, and it's a trauma-informed yoga. So a lot of us alcoholics and addicts, with the trauma that we've had in our history and just our genetic makeup, our nervous system is very fiery. So we go from fight or flight very quickly. For me, I go into flight very quickly. So if I feel agitated, or I feel unsafe, or I feel threatened, I want to run. I'm anxious and I want to go. My whole life I've been living in fear, and I still have fear today. So I do yoga, and I work a 12-step program to calm my nerves, to live one day at a time. The vagus nerve is a big nerve that goes from the top of our brain, and it connects to all of our major organs and goes down to the bottom of our spine. And they know that people with a lot of trauma, and especially alcoholics and addicts, that nerve is very, it's very unbalanced. And so what yoga does for us is it can balance that nerve, and it can calm our systems down. It takes a while though. For me, I felt when I really started to do yoga every day, I felt a huge relief, and I could stay calm longer periods. What yoga and meditation also does for us is it lengthens the gap of when we are triggered by whatever it's going to be. Someone says something that we don't like, we're triggered because we see someone drinking, or whatever it is, whatever we're triggered by. When we consistently practice yoga and meditate, that gap between reacting to the trigger lengthens. So we can find our breath. We can talk ourselves out of reacting in a way that we don't want to react, or it's just an ingrained behavior that's kept us safe. So Yoga Fit, why I love Yoga Fit also is it teaches us to let go of expectations of ourselves and judgments of ourselves and competition every time we come to our mat. So we start to feel what we need today to take care of our mind, our body, and our spirit. And what I need today may be very different from what I needed yesterday. And it's taken me a while to be able to feel what I need today. What do I need? Instead of just doing the same thing over and over and over, how can I take care of my mind, my body, and my spirit today? And that's another thing that yoga does for us. My sobriety has enhanced greatly with doing a yoga practice every day, because I am more calm. I have a better sense of well-being. I'm less fearful. For most of my life, I lived in fear my whole life, and I can be in control of my thoughts and my actions a lot better. Yoga is the yoke between connecting our brain and our body back together. And the more we practice it, the more we're patient with ourselves, the better we're going to get at it, and the more we can bring it into our daily life.